How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about Lucid, which was up just 2.69% on the day. We saw a lot of strength inside of the market. We saw how much Tesla ran up due to the fact of their delivery numbers. But of course, we know Lucid is known for being a laggard, but going into tomorrow, many are asking, Dre, what do you see happening with this stock? So I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder, you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is a technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. We want to know what it looks like in the bearish case scenario and as well as in the bullish case scenario. And then we're going to be going on Fintel, taking a look at the short interest information and as well as the recent institutional ownership. The reason why this is important because it can have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know the buying and the selling behavior on the retail side and as well as on the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for Lucid. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $25.21, being up 2.69%. On the low, it tested $24.64, and then on the high, testing $25.43. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you could see we traded at 16.593 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 20.636 million shares. So we did have below average volume on the day, but we saw some strength in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, you could see from the RSI down below, it is at 47.92. And then when we take a look at our moving averages here on the chart, we are below the 100-day, the 200-day, the 50-day, and we're also below the 21-day EMA. It is at $25.48, and we close at $25.21. So going into tomorrow, if we see some more strength in the market, we want to see Lucid get above the 21-day EMA and actually use it as an area of support. If we're able to do this, then I'm looking forward to seeing us get to the 50-day, which is right around $26.54. This is an area that we have been familiar with in the past not too long ago, so we should be able to get back there. Like I said, we need that continued strength inside of the tech sector. And if it's able to reclaim 26.54, that's what I want to see if it can make that push going to around 27.50. You know how key this level is, and it could see some selling pressure here, but again, more strength could show that we could see some more movement in Lucid to see if it can make that move to the 200-day. If it decides to consolidate and so forth, we did test the low of 24.64. So if it does hold that area up, that is perfectly fine. But the moment that it breaks through it, then we can see Lucid getting down to levels to see if support can hold up around $23.70. So it's definitely going to be interesting for this stock, and I will continue to keep a close eye on it. Now let's move on to the short interest information. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for Lucid. As we scroll down further on the page, green rows indicate new positions, while red rows indicate closed positions. So when we take a look at the recent filings here, we have Advocacy Wealth Management Services LLC that purchased 690 shares. We also have Direxion NASDAQ 100 equal weighted index shares that purchased 109,175 shares. And in regards to March, so near the ending where we can see a good amount of filings here, we do see some short positions, but we have to go over the ones that are the most noticeable. So we have Investco Global Clean Energy ETF that purchased 62,416 shares. And then we have Alger with their short position of 660,280 shares. We also do see for Ultra NASDAQ 100 Profound Investor Class purchased 79,704 shares. And we do have QYLD that purchased 767,030 shares. So again, we do have a mix here as far as short positions and as well as institutions buying, but for the most part, institutions have been showing a lot of interest. Now, when we look at the short interest, the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 59% 59.89%, and then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 4.08 million shares. Scrolling down further on the page, the short shares availability is at 350,000, updated 12 minutes ago, and then for the short borrow fee rate, it is at 5.86%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, you can see for the close of the 31st, it was at 63.19, and then for the close of the first being at 59.89. So what this shows us, Lucid does have short squeeze potential. Now let's move on to the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for Lucid. So we see on the inflow it's at 69.76, and then on the outflow it is at 90.55. Keep in mind these numbers are in the millions. Taking a look at the breakdown, on the large it was 0, on the medium it was 44.85, and then on the small it was 24.91. Taking a look at the outflow side, you can see on the large it was 6.91, on the medium it was 53.04, and then on the small it was 30.60. Taking a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you can see for April the 4th, which is today, we had that negative outflow of 6.91 million, and we also did see for the first it was another negative outflow of 7.28 million. Analyzing the numbers even further for the small scale orders that tend to represent the retail side, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the large, which represents whales, institutions, and funds, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the turnover ratio, it was at 1.03%. So this continues to be a consistent range for Lucid. But what we are clearly seeing, there has been a lot of outflows. And this could be part of the reasons why we are not seeing strong price action, and it continues just to consolidate. So let's go on to the final thoughts, and we'll go over some more details as well. So for my final thoughts for Lucid, when it comes to the price action, I want to see some more strength. We talked about how key it was for it to stay above the 21-day EMA, which is at $25.50. Of course, it did close at $25.21, but considering that we had a lot of strength in the market, especially for the EV sector, we saw Tesla was on a tear today due to the fact of their delivery numbers. We saw strength in stocks like NIO. We also did realize this with GGPI in regards to the fact that they have a deal with Hertz, and as far as for Fisker, showing that there's a lot of demand through their reservations. So we know the competition is heating up. But one thing that was clear when taking a look at the order flow, there is a lot of selling that is happening. But despite all of this selling, Lucid is still holding itself up. It is still continuing to consolidate. Even though it does trade below all of our major moving averages, I would continue to keep an eye on this play. And as far as for the downside is concerned, if we continue to see some weakness, don't be surprised if we start testing levels at around $23.70. And then breaking through that level, then you want to see support hold up around $22.50. I want to make sure I'm being very clear about this, because I'm telling you guys that the competition is heating up. This is a different year. A lot of big money is going to be flowing into high conviction plays. And since Lucid's last earnings report was underwhelming, they're going to have to step it up in order for us to see a reflection in the stock price and it making a move to the upside, especially catching up with the rest of the sector. Because one thing that we do know for a fact, if the market does decide to pull back, Lucid is going to feel it. And that's why I'm saying when we have these strong days in the markets, Lucid needs to move alongside with it. Also, when we went on Fintel, taking a look at the short interest information, it does continue to have some short squeeze potential, but you need to have volume. You need to have more demand in the market. That's why I'm saying it is very key. And as far as for the recent institutional ownership, we can see institutions are continuing to load up on shares, but we also can see that institutions have been loading up on short positions. Again, this is not what you want to see when you're invested in this stock. But of course, if you are a long-term investor, you should be used to this volatility. And as far as those dips, you should be taking advantage of it since you do believe in the long-term prospects and you have high conviction. If you don't have high conviction in the play, then you should not be investing in it whatsoever. And if you are going to be swing trading it, then you want to make sure you're using the right risk management and have a good idea of where your levels are going to be as far as for your exit. The reason why I'm emphasizing this because we are in a different environment. This is not 2020 or 2021. Stocks are not going to just run up like crazy due to the fact that we have a lot of money coming in from the retail side. It is a different time this way around. And as far as high conviction plays, you want to be looking at the companies that are showing consistent profitability. And we have been noticing this with Tesla. I know there are other EV plays that are not profitable as of yet, but again, they're getting things done on the operational side, which gives investors more confidence to put more money money into them. So Lucid, you have a lot to prove. I'm going to be looking forward to it. I will continue to do these updates for you guys. So let's see how the stock performs going into tomorrow. We'll talk soon.